hear us now? Okay, there we go. I think that's it. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's start over.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Daniel.
And we are city kids who found ourselves living full-time camping. And usually we are in our Airstream, but as you can see...
No Airstream, right? Like, where the heck are they? We are currently in Marfa, Texas, enduring a windstorm. So if you've seen some of our previous videos, you know that we had to endure Snowmageddon, and it was an experience in itself. And now here we are in Marfa, Texas, and I don't know if you can hear that, but we're in Hotel St. George. They were so kind to let us borrow some space so that we can broadcast to you all tonight. But legitimately, it sounds like the roof's about to cave in. The wind has been insane here.
If you guys looked at our shorts, we literally posted one earlier today, maybe like an hour or so ago, where Daniel literally had to fight with the Airstream door to get inside. We've had winds here in Marfa, Texas, between 50 and 70 miles an hour. Right. And for those of you guys who are familiar with hurricanes, you'll know that at a 70-mile-an-hour point,
74, I think, right? 74? Like 74 is a Category 1 hurricane.
Those are the kind of winds we've been dealing with in the desert. We've kind of decided that Texas hates us. Texas
is out to get us. And as somebody literally just commented, it's hardening us. It's making us stronger as people and as RVers, legitimately, because we've had to endure brutal cold, granted, for Floridians. And now the wind. And the wind, again, the reason we are coming to you live from the St. George Hotel is because the wind knocked out the power and the water and a lot of the cellular services here, which I don't even know how that is even possible. But legitimately, the only reason we even have internet service to do this live cast is because we're in their conference center and they have allocated bandwidth, and they just got it up like an hour ago.
So we really, really appreciate Hotel St. George for dealing with us tonight, because we have so freaking much to celebrate with y'all, and we're so excited to do it. So there are a handful of things. I think the number one biggest thing is that, holy moly, as of today, which we did not expect, we have hit 4,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
Literally, like 10 minutes ago, we just hit 4,000 subs. And normally we would be prepping for a live stream and we would have like a bottle of champagne and we would celebrate with you all. But we had no idea that we would hit 4,000 subs tonight. And legitimately, thanks to all of you, it's possible. And we're so thankful for this community. Laura and I talk about this all the time. We're so thankful for all of the feedback you guys give us.
Yeah.
If you're a newbie RVer and you're wondering what the heck you're going to do when somebody delivers your new RV to you, just don't watch our videos for what not to do, but go in and read the comments, because those are from real experts, not us, right?
And they're amazing, and they're teaching us so much. But like you guys said, are we staying the night here? No. We did learn how to deal with living without power and water in an emergency, so we were ready, or at least ready enough to be able to prep for what we needed. So we're going to actually get to stay in our Airstream tonight. The Hotel St. George has just been kind enough to let us bum off of their internet so we can hang out with y'all.
And Bill, Utah, we're from Florida. We're so used to high winds. I think the difference is that in Florida, there are a lot of buildings and homes and things to block it. We're staying in an Airstream park called the Airstream Yacht Club. Airstream Yacht Club, right? There's nothing to block the wind. So it's literally just like slicing across the plane. And it, like, you know, even with our heavy Airstream, you can kind of tell it's,
you can feel it.
It's blowing hard out there. Yeah, Texas, no, Texas has not been kind to us, but like we talked about, we're
learning a lot, and that's pretty much all we can ask for. And not to mention, it's definitely made crazy, hilarious videos. So at least y'all can laugh at us while we laugh at ourselves in Texas.
And listen, one of the things that you guys have already mentioned is that we just try to keep it as real as possible. And legitimately, this is like, I didn't even bother trying to fix my hair today, because this is just like wind-blown hair, and I look like a talking bobblehead against this black backdrop, but we just keep it real, and we always promise to keep it real.
But we're so excited, first, to be able to celebrate the 4,000 subscribers with you guys. Second, this is our 6-month anniversary of living in the Airstream, which seems mind-blowing that it has already happened that fast. And then last but not least that we're going to be celebrating with you guys tonight is the fact that we have a winner for our Piggy naming contest.
Ooh, who's it going to be, Lauren?
So we had hundreds of submissions, which we never dreamed would happen. So thank you to everybody who came up with some creative, hilarious ideas. Daniel and I have literally spent the last week giggling at these names for the pigs. But have to give a shout out. We had 3 top winners.
Maybe we should start with number 3 first.
Okay.
Right? We'll kind of like work our way up the ranks here because we loved all of them. Loved all of them. But you guys ultimately chose the winner of our little piggy contest.
So we had 3 top names. The first one was Peter Porker by Heath Close. Yay!
Oh my gosh.
We loved this one. We're huge like nerds when it comes to superhero movies.
Oh yeah. And Peter Porker is like the Spider-Man multiverse. I'm not going to dig into that, but kudos to Heath. Awesome selection.
And then to be completely honest with you, the second one that I did not actually even know what it was about, Arnold was the second name. And we Googled who Arnold was from Green Acres and watched like an hour of videos about Arnold the pig. So if you haven't done that, you probably should because it's hilarious and amazing. And
there's like a highlight video on YouTube of like all of like Arnold's best clips from Green Acres. It's hilarious.
They're amazing.
So if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out.
And then our third name that is on our list is Magnum Pig. And that one is, I'm sorry, Arnold was from Texas Roadrunners. Y'all are awesome. We loved it. And then Magnum Pig was from Dan White. And those were our top 3 names. So we are going to leave it until the end of this live stream today to give you a final winner because we want to give you guys the opportunity, if you haven't voted already, to jump into our community page. There is a poll there where you can also vote for what your favorite piggy name is.
And it's been a close race too. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there were times where I wasn't quite sure who's going to come out in front, but it's been exciting.
It's been super fun. So we've already sent them awesome Wanderlocal gear from our store, some hats, some sweatshirts. So those were our prizes for our top names, but we will be announcing the final big name and prize at the end of our live.
That's very, very true. Thank you. Gosh, thank you guys so much. First Cav, we're in a room. It's actually a ballroom. And we learned that the person who gave us this room, she coordinates everything. She's a manager here at the hotel. This is where she got married. So we're literally sitting in like, I feel like 10,000 square feet right now.
This is what we're looking at, y'all. Can y'all see this? It's so humongous.
We're in like 10,000 square feet and we're just like wedged in this tiny corner with this black backdrop here. Like that's where we're at right now. And we bring our own lighting, so we're always prepared for that. But
it's definitely not our normal Airstream background.
No, it's definitely not.
But we are so pumped to talk with you guys tonight because we have prepared what we are going to consider our 6 top learning lessons from living in an Airstream for 6 months.
Very true.
And there have been a lot, to say the least.
There have been so many, and I think it's important to talk about those because I think that if you're definitely starting out, this first one will resonate with you. The number one memory that I have is picking up the Airstream on day 1. And up until that point, I had never towed anything longer than a boat. I mean, not like a big boat, not a big like yacht. I mean, I didn't necessarily grow up in an affluent family or anything, but we had a tiny little boat and I towed that, and that was the extent of it. And that was the biggest thing I had towed. So when we picked this thing up, it was like 30 feet of craziness behind us. And I was gripping the steering wheel so hard, it was literally white knuckling it. And I remember going to the first campground, and our first campground ended up being Disney Fort Wilderness Lodge, which all of you have commented on about being awesome.
During Labor Day.
During Labor Day weekend, and it was
packed.
It was packed.
so busy.
It was so busy. There were cars lined, and I could barely fit the truck. Like, I could barely fit the truck in there, let alone a 30-foot Airstream. And then I had to back it up for the very first time. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Seriously. It was not great.
But what was the biggest lesson learned from all of that?
The biggest lesson learned is that while things appear to be very difficult at first, you have to just power through it. There are so many things that are intimidating, like the black tank and all that stuff. But the reality is, over time, it becomes very, very easy. And it's they seem scary at first. So my only advice on that first tip is just power through it. And even if it seems intimidating, just dive in head first.
And also, when you need help, ask for it. That's probably the thing that we love about our camping community in general, is that somebody's always close by who's willing to help. Oh,
that's so true.
And Heath has a good question. For those of you who do want to vote and have not already, to do so, you just go to our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Wanderlocal.
You can do it on a laptop or something, right? Or
I don't know how to do it on the phone, but if you do it on your laptop, there's little tabs right under, I think, the subscriber count, and it'll say community. And you just click on that, then it'll get you right there. And I'm pretty sure it works on mobile as long as you have the YouTube app as well. So that way you can vote for our awesome Piggy names.
Thank you so much, Love Subbin, for joining us. Also one of our favorite channels. And the first thing he ever towed was an Airstream off the dealer's lot.
That was us, except what made it 10 times worse is it wasn't even our Airstream. So if you've seen the beginning of our channel, you know that Airstream Corporate actually gave us a media unit while they built our Airstream. They had heard about our mission to shop American made, and they're an American incredible company, and they believed in it too.
Sure.
So while our Airstream was being built, we were driving their media unit. And it has to, it's so scary when you have your own, but when it's somebody else's, that's pretty rough too.
Yeah, exactly.
We were so worried we were
It's like somebody letting you borrow their Ferrari and you're afraid you're going to crash it. I mean, at least I would be afraid I was going to crash it.
And that's a perfect lead in to our second lesson learned over the 6 months is shit happens. And it's pretty much the way that you deal with it that matters, because we did break the Airstream media unit, which was horrible. So
we're sorry, Airstream Corporate.
We love you guys. Y'all are so amazing, and thank you for dealing with us. But when we were in Townsend, Tennessee, one of the very first places we went was to the Smoky Mountains, because Daniel's expectation for what 2020 was going to look like had already been crushed, because I will never forget. We were in, well, actually exactly 1 year ago today, we were in Morocco, and we were sitting at dinner in our riad, which is basically like a cool little hotel.
Yeah.
And Daniel saw on the news that the Boston Marathon had been canceled, and he had been training for years to run this event. Years.
And it felt so terrible to weep over it, because of everything that was going on in the world, but my heart was also crushed at that moment.
Right.
And I think it's kind of like anybody else who would probably train for something that they spent years training for. It was heartbreaking. So shit happens, like she said. The Smoky Mountains ended up being one of the best experiences of my entire life.
Well, we went up there because they were one of the only places that actually had even a half marathon. So there's a full video about it, but Daniel runs the marathon trail backwards
in the middle of the night with no lights. I mean,
and then runs it again the way you're supposed to run it to finish his full Boston virtual. It was crazy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of new subscribers here, but the reason I was doing all of the marathons this past year was I was trying to raise money for cancer awareness. I'm a 20-year cancer survivor, I guess working on 21 at this point. And 2020 was supposed to be about raising funds for cancer awareness. I'm a colon cancer survivor, so it was a very, very big and emotional moment for me. And for me, the Smoky Mountains and our Airstream and RV life and all that experience, I will remember for the rest of my life. And as a matter of fact, even at the finish line, they caught wind of what we were doing at the halfway point, and they called ahead. And when I crossed the finish line, they did this big announcement celebrating it. And it's just like, it
was wonderful.
It was very hard to keep it in. It was a very emotional moment.
But it was like the culmination of a lot of expectations that could have been just things that were crushing. And instead of choosing to let it be that way, we decided that we were going to, live it up for what it was worth. And it was amazing. So
yeah. And that's one of our biggest lessons, I think, that we've learned from the RV life and just, life in general. It's all about how you react to the situations you're in. The last year has been, it's been a bit of a shit show. We're not going to sugarcoat it, right? And we've all had to adapt and change. And it's really just about how we refocus our energy and try to focus, on the positive things in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to lesson number 3. And we would love to also hear from y'all about if there are things that you've learned from your RV life adventure or just from the last 12 months in general that have been impactful in your lives. We'd love to hear those too, because those stories really inspire us. So the third thing that we would say is
Crunch.
our lesson learned is that sometimes you just have to say yes to something before you feel ready for it. And I'm pretty positive that just defines the last 6 months. But the thing that really stands out to me the most is our experience running the marathon in Springfield. Is that
Springfield,
Illinois?
no, it was Springfield, Missouri?
Missouri, yes.
Was it
in
Missouri? It's Springfield, Missouri.
Missouri.
Because there's a Springfield, Illinois as well.
And
but
we
that's
went to
not
both, which was confusing.
Yeah, exactly.
So when about a year ago, maybe a little bit before that, Daniel signed both him and I up for the New York City Marathon. And I have not run a marathon before, so this was a brand new experience for me, and one that I had tried to do and trained for before. We'd actually signed up for the Iceland Marathon about 2 years previous, but I had run into injuries. So when we got back from Morocco, I was training when we moved in with my dad, since hotels and Airbnbs weren't working for us anymore. Yeah. And I was like training like a structured training program. And when we moved into the Airstream, I kind of threw that out the window. That wasn't the original plan, but learning curve in moving into an RV when you've never ever stayed the night in one before, it's kind of high. So it took a little bit more priority than my running. And when we got to the point, so the race was supposed to be November 2nd, and we had been living in the Airstream 2.5 months, and I had not run like maybe even 4 miles.
Not like you're supposed to. That was the longest taper ever.
It was so bad.
And
I knew that it was going to suck, but Daniel and I talked about it, and I just decided, I've wanted to do this for a long time. I'm just going to say yes. I'm going to know it's going to suck, and we're going to do it anyway. And we did it. And it's just been a really good picture of what living full-time RV life is about, because sometimes you just have to say yes and figure it out from there, and really beautiful things come from it. So that's definitely a good one.
Joanne Kelly, thank you so much for watching all the time. I love these comments. This is amazing. Here we go. Abraham Lincoln in Springfield, Illinois. Abraham Lincoln, Springfield. Is it the home of Abraham Lincoln? We should know this, right? We were there.
I think all we did is run a marathon there.
No, that's Illinois. She's at Springfield, Illinois.
Oh, in Illinois.
Yeah, don't know that one. Yes. Lori Sanders. Yes. Thank you so much. If you haven't watched our previous vlogs, go back and watch them.
We have a series of marathon vlogs that Daniel did 4 marathons in 45 days. It was crazy. And they're so silly and funny that you'll enjoy them.
Yeah. It kind of broke me. I took some time off, so I haven't really run much since, but
hi, Clay. Welcome. All right. So that was number 3.
First Cav, thank you so much.
So the fourth lesson that we have learned over the last 6 months is one that we really, really weren't expecting. And it's that, well, there's really no place like home.
It's true.
So when we started our minimalism journey and before we moved into the Airstream, about 1.5 years before that, we sold everything. We had a beautiful home close to the beach in St. Petersburg, Florida. It was way too big for just the 2 of us. We sold it all, decided that we were going to travel the world. And we spent 1.5 years going all over and absolutely loved our time. But something that's really different about RV life and living in our Airstream is that even though we wake up to a new background, new place on a regular basis, we still get to come home, which is really neat and special and something we didn't really expect.
I think the difference is when you're living in hotels and Airbnbs like we were, you're just constantly moving. So we lived out of 2 suitcases for 1.5 years when we traveled the world. Everything we had fits in those 2 suitcases. So you can't really ever settle anywhere ever. You can't like put your toothbrush near the sink. You're literally just living out of it for 1.5 years. And that's one of the best things about, living in an RV right now and traveling the country is that we feel like we're still at home, but yet we're getting all the experiences of traveling. And I know there's so many of you that do travel this way and you totally get what we're saying. And if you're not traveling this way, hey, like,
we think
do it. Even if you're just doing it for a couple of weekends, you should definitely do it.
Truth. All right, let's see. Oh, Clyde says lesson number 1, having a trailer brake in the tow vehicle makes a big difference.
Amen to that. And my cousin helped me pick out our trucks because we're not truck people. no, we weren't
We are
previously truck
now.
people. We love trucks
Yeah.
now, but we didn't previously. And she was like, you better make sure you get that tow package with the brakes and we did. And it's cool. We set the brakes for the trailer in the truck and all that. And it is so awesome.
We love our Ford F-250.
Yeah, it has been amazing. Dressing as Cousin Eddie for the marathon. Yes, I did that. It was.
We should probably make him dress up in that outfit again. Don't y'all think?
I know, dressed up as Cousin Eddie to run a marathon, but I feel like there should be more Cousin Eddie cameos. And we've got a couple of other cameos coming up pretty soon here that we'll talk about later. Waldo. Anyways.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. Bill Utah, yes. Listen, I'm like an open book, so you have to get colonoscopies every 6 months. It's part of my life, and it always will be, and it probably changed my life. I was very, very young 20 years ago, and I had to go through all of that, and I've never looked at life the same way. And I wish more people could see the world through my eyes, because I think that people kind of hold on to things that they shouldn't, and you really need to learn to just let go. And life is really about the experiences, whether it be with friends and family. Cherish those moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cybertruck, Brickworks. Yes. And I know you've commented on some stuff too. Oh my gosh. We actually have a friend who's he has one on order, and we're waiting to see what happens with his, because that would be so awesome to have a Cybertruck pulling an Airstream. It seems like a match made in heaven, right? Like a silver Cybertruck, like towing the Airstream.
But with as much stuff as we screw up, we're going to let somebody else test run that before we decide to do it. All right, so let's see. So the fifth lesson that we have learned from living in our Airstream for the last 6 months is one that's kind of cliche, but it's so relevant, especially if you guys saw our boondocking in the bayou video that we launched today.
Oh my gosh.
Holy moly, if anything has ever taught us to never give up, that is probably hands down the thing. For those of y'all who haven't watched it, our boondocking in the bayou video, first, that Harvest Host location, Champagne Swamp Tours, is the most beautiful place that we have boondocked probably so far in the last 6 months. It was 100%. Incredible. But we also decided that it was going to be our goal to learn how to use our generators, because I don't really know why, like everything else, Daniel and I had never set up generators or used generators before. So they were like really intimidating. So it took us almost 4 months to decide that we were going to
use it for the first time.
Use them.
Right.
We were going to figure it out.
Well, we kind of chickened out a couple of times where we had opportunities to do it. And then like at the lavender farm, they said to us, well, we've got 50 amp hookups at the lavender farm. And we go, we'll take it, obviously. Why wouldn't you?
So when we decided that we were going to try the generators, we were like, this is going to be really easy and straightforward. And granted, it really probably should have been, but back to like where city kids go camping, and almost all of our episodes tend to be more like Griswold's Christmas Vacation than what we would like them to be. So, I mean... Yeah,
I try to channel my inner like Dalai Lama, but those generators really tested my inner chi. Really, it was.
What was crazy about it is there was definitely a point where we didn't know if we were going to actually be able to get them to work. Like we were like, okay, we're filming this video, like,
right?
There's not going to be an end because we can't figure out how the heck to work these stupid generators.
It's so true. Terry Elliott. Great advice. Never give up or stop learning. You will be fine. That is a philosophy for life, honestly. Never stop learning and never give up.
Well, and I think that's what we've talked about with living in an Airstream. Yeah. This is such a different lifestyle. And when we never, ever dreamed that we would be even remotely doing, like we get a lot of comments from y'all and it's husbands saying, my wife is never going to do this. I wish she would. How can I talk her into doing this? And I was definitely one of those wives. When Daniel,
it was tough to talk.
When Daniel started talking about us living in a travel trailer, I was like,
no. She said no, like squashed instantly. I'm out. That's what she said.
Way.
No way.
And I'm not really like a no person. I'm definitely a yes and person, but that was just way too far beyond my imagination at first.
So true.
Thankfully, he started showing me some YouTube videos of Airstreams, and he made the mistake. He had specifically not apparently wanted to show me the classic, but I kind of saw a thumbnail for one of them and made him click on it, and I was pretty sold after we saw the classic. So,
Brian Gross, welcome from Ohio and retired life. Ollie Style, welcome from South Carolina. And I think this week we just had our first like fan from
New Zealand?
New Zealand and Switzerland.
So fun.
That's so awesome. I love that. I mean, that's really the mission here, just to get it out and get people wandering their own community, wherever that may be, whether it's here in the U.S. or abroad. I think it's important to support your neighbors and your
wandering and supporting
your community.
Local. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's exactly right.
Okay, and so finally, last but not least, before we're going to dive into all of your questions, and we have a few of our own for y'all, the sixth thing that we have learned in living Airstream life for 6 months now is that there is no such thing as being over-prepared.
Oh my goodness. Over-prepared. We're not the type of people that are ever even prepared, which is why we find ourselves in a pickle. And we find ourselves in a pickle quite often.
Well, and when we were living in Airbnbs and hotels,
everything's taken care of.
Well, right. We weren't responsible for the airplane or the hotel.
Or internet, or they just had it.
It was just all right there. And with RV life, that is beyond not the case.
I mean, seriously. Yeah. I mean, so we have learned, and literally the feedback from the Texas freeze thing
was amazing.
We cherish that feedback you all leave us more than you will ever know. And we will always say that we genuinely appreciate it, but we're telling you on this live stream, we appreciate the feedback more than you will ever know.
Well, because it makes a difference in our day-to-day lives. Like, we read these comments on a daily basis. We Google the things that you guys tell us to Google. We buy the things that y'all tell us to buy. So you are literally making a difference in our day-to-day lives, and we appreciate it so much.
And 1-800-Clyde Solution Opportunities, let me tell you this. Because we are newbies and because we're solutions people in our professional lives, where we're always looking to problem solve and troubleshoot, there's a lot of things we would do differently with this RV industry as a whole. I mean, there's so many opportunities for somebody to come in and just create better products and services. And I mean, let's be honest, if you ever booked a site and you're like, and they don't even have a website, I mean, it's not even, you can build those for free, for God's sakes.
Well, I mean, the number of phone calls that I make to reserve campground sites is still crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is there is a lot of opportunity in this industry for people to flourish, really. I mean, if you're just like looking for business opportunities, just start RVing for a few months and you're going to see a ton of opportunities.
So true. Hi, Ruth. Welcome.
Yeah, and like literally, love subbing. Probably the most prepared person I know. Legitimately. We love you guys. We're like, I told him, we're like the yin to his yang. If you want to know what to do, he's all about it.
Go watch Schlepp's channel.
Legitimately, if you want to know what not to do, you're going to have to look at all of our comments that kind of feed in from all the other channels and people. And I feel like the expertise from our videos comes in the comments section. So there are a lot of times where I'm like, listen, you're not going to find this on airstream.com or anything. Well, you won't, because it's a pretty crappy tip, honestly. But the comments are awesome, and we genuinely appreciate it.
Absolutely.
High latitude greetings from Alaska. Awesome. We love Alaska.
And Bill from Utah. Hello to your wife too. That makes our heart happy.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Nina.
John, I feel like we've been talking to you a lot lately. Two generators. So there's been a few comments about the generators.
Yes, we got them working.
And yes, it just came down to one thing, and it was the silliest thing of all. And
I think you said it perfectly. It was an ID10T error.
It was an ID10T error. Right. If you're in a tech space, it was an ID10T error. And
if you're not sure what that is, just type it out on your computer in all caps.
Type out ID10T and you're gonna understand what I did. Yeah, I mean, legitimately, it was
a mess.
It was a mess, but we finally got them up and running. We know to only run one generator instead of two at the exact same time, so we can like make them last longer.
We now have a gas can.
We bought a gas can because of all of you guys.
Actually, two.
We bought two, and we don't fill them while they're in the bed of the truck. We learned that too. I mean, don't just like go fill in, because it's probably going to spray everywhere if you overflow it.
Hey, DJ, welcome.
I mean, we make all the mistakes, so if you're a newbie and you're watching this, so you don't have to.
It's so true. We're so bad. Sometimes after we get done filming a video and I'm editing it, I'll like tell Daniel, I'm like, you have to come look at this, because this is so obnoxious that like I'm a little embarrassed to put it on the internet, but I'm pretty sure somebody else will learn from it. So we're gonna just do it and see how it goes.
I mean, I feel like we definitely just put it all out there. I mean, you're either gonna love us or you're gonna hate us, but And there, like she said, there are moments where I'm like, I don't know if we should put that out there. And she's like, let's just throw it out there and see what happens. And we do. We just put it all out there. The wins, the losses, the everything in between. We're always going to do that. And that's just because that's who we are as people.
Truth.
And we're always learning.
Truth.
Yeah.
Welcome, Diane. It's so cool to meet you. We're super excited. We're actually Airstream ambassadors too. So they're going to probably be releasing our like introductory article in the next couple of weeks. We've got to do something fun to get everybody together.
10 years and 7 Airstreams.
That's amazing.
Wow. That is amazing. I love connecting with other Airstream ambassadors. Love 7, also Airstream ambassador as well. I know there's not like a community yet of them, but Fort Worth, Texas. Yes, that's so amazing. Malcolm, welcome to the party. Starlink. Okay, you guys are talking about Starlink. We've already dropped our deposit. Yes, we know the early rumors are that you're not able to move it around, but you know what? We don't care. We're like in. If it's
we're open for trying anything. We're sitting in Hotel St. George in Marfa tonight with our background not being our Airstream, thanks to our internet, well, and also power issues. But
if Starlink works, you're going to see a Starlink device on probably every RV. If there's even a 5% chance it works, that's why we put a deposit down on it. We don't even care. I mean, it's pretty bad out there. We have signal repeaters and boosters, and legitimately, we bought one of the best routers with multi-SIM card setups you can buy. And the problem also is that sometimes you get out there and the cell towers are down. So like with Texas, when the power grid went down, a lot of cellular service went down and cell towers went down. So, I mean, in that situation, nothing's gonna work for you.
Yeah.
Well, no. In that situation, satellite's gonna work for you.
Fingers crossed.
Boom.
So we'll be keeping you guys
Check
updated
Elon.
as soon as we're able to test some of that stuff out, because we cannot wait. And Lori, welcome. We're actually headed to New Mexico very soon, which we're excited about.
Next. Yeah.
And David, it's so nice to have you join us. Thanks for coming to hang out with us.
Yeah, and we literally can't talk enough about the shopping local thing. I mean, we're so passionate about it, and sometimes we'll mention products and we know they're not 100% made in the US. Sometimes they'll say like assembled in the US, but it's because 100% of everything else was made elsewhere.
Yeah.
We try our best. We encourage you to shop at the local shops, eat at the local restaurants.
Well, it's twofold, right?
Yeah.
First, obviously, the economy here in the States has a lot of room to improve.
Yeah.
And if everybody was to spend more of our hard-earned dollars with local businesses, it would improve our U.S. economy. But secondly, not only that, when you shop with a local and American-made product, you're getting to experience a little bit of the culture. I can't tell you how many times we've gone to a bar or restaurant and struck up a conversation with our waiter or the bartender and learned something new and amazing that we would have never seen in that community without their feedback. So you really get to experience the culture, and that's one of the most beautiful things about traveling, finding things that are new, stepping outside of your box, and we love local.
And this legitimately will always be my number one favorite tip, and it's kind of part of the Wanderlocal concept. When you're traveling to a new city, go visit a local shop, restaurant, bar, artisan product stand at a whatever, vegetable stand, whatever it is, and ask them about the best places.
Yeah.
Because locals know where to go.
It's way better than the Google
search. If you want to avoid all of like the tourist traps and things like that, we're going to be buying like I hate to say it, but like all the made overseas stuff that's just kind of like cookie cutter stuff. Like get out there and ask the locals about their favorite places, and
you'll learn a ton.
Surprised at how much you learn about that community. That's so much different than the average tourist visiting that city.
Look, Clay says balloon rides in Albuquerque.
Oh my gosh, that leads. Okay, Clay, I know that's coming up, and that has been on our bucket list well before we ever RV'd.
Balloon festivals all over the world are on our bucket list.
Oh my gosh, and we've heard so much about it, and we've heard they're going to have it this year. We are looking into that. This leads me to a question for everybody watching right now. If you could go to, because events are starting to come back, right? They're not.
Hopefully within the next year.
Hopefully within the next year, right? If you could go to or pick out any event that you think that we should visit, that's just
you want to see what it's like.
And I feel like the Albuquerque Balloon Festival is probably one of those experiences. Where do you think we should go? Because we're legitimately building a list of places we want to go to. Mm-hmm. And the feedback we've gotten has helped to guide us on this entire journey, and we appreciate all of your feedback. So if there are places that we should go within the next year, please drop a comment, send us an email, do all of those things.
Yep, true. Hey, Jamie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Balloon Fest. Oh, 2010. Okay, you're booked for Balloon Fest. Nice. Sold out this year. We may have an in.
We're keeping our fingers crossed.
We can't talk about it yet. There's some stuff in the works. But
I don't know what Tree for Boise,
Idaho.
We'll have to Google that.
Definitely. Yeah. So let's see what else here. Elon is putting up a ton of satellites. Oh my gosh. He's just like every other day.
Yes, Diane. Airstream Life and Shopping Local 100% go together.
Yeah. There's a Balloon Festival, Airstream Rally in Europe this summer. And of course, Albuquerque. Oh, there's a Balloon Fest.
David, that's a great idea about going to NASA for a SpaceX launch. That would be so cool.
Oh my gosh.
Daniel and I are super obsessed with an alternate reality TV show right now that's about space. And I'm like genuinely just obsessed in general.
We're just sci-fi nerds. So we're just throwing that out there too. We're nerds. We'd like to watch a lot of sci-fi stuff, sci-fi shows. That's
okay,
cool.
So y'all should go to Tao
Box for Whitewater Rapids. So fun.
Ooh, that sounds really fun. We haven't done a Whitewater Rapids things together, like
Banff,
at all.
That would be awesome. No, a music festival would be.
Y'all might not be able to hear the Martha train. It's so loud.
It's shaking the building. There's a train passing.
Apparently, a train is more intense than wind. Go figure.
There's a train that's rattling the building right now. I think the tracks must be right behind this building.
Okay, so let's see. Lori says, I used to live in Albuquerque, will always say go. One of the most photographed events ever. That sounds amazing. If anyone needs a local guide. After we finished, so one of the things, our whole plan for our trip was to do a 50-state tour. And we're still going to do that. But the original plan was to do that in 365 days. I think anybody who has done any kind of RVing would have looked at us and told us we were crazy, because our plan was that we could visit one state per week and visit all 50 states. And then we accidentally moved to Texas, thanks to Mother Nature.
Yeah,
so
just
that's
threw a wrench right in there, didn't it?
Totally not going to happen in 365 days. We are still moving along the states. But once we get done with our 50-state tour, we cannot wait to come through Canada, and specifically to visit like all the areas and then go up into Alaska, because that sounds so epic.
So we've heard a lot about that drive, and I've heard pros and cons of making that drive. That's another conversation for another day. The Rio Grande, definitely on the list. San Diego Comic-Con, would love to go to San Diego Comic-Con. Next question, because this has been brought up a lot. When there are a lot of people in this space, you kind of get compared to each other. We'd like to think we're our own recipe of craziness.
Well, I like what somebody else said in the comments earlier. We're kind of like I Love Lucy.
That's so true.
Lucy couple. I so see that.
Yeah, I Love Lucy couple. Yeah, that's us for sure. But if you could see us collaborate with any other YouTubers over the next year, who would you like to see us collaborate with? And we promise we will do our best to make it happen. But that is definitely one of the things on our list over the next year, to do some crossover collaborations with some other influencers, because we learn so much from them, and we feel like it would be a very reciprocal meeting. And I would just love to share a campfire. I'd love to share a campfire with them and all of you, honestly. And again, on that note, are there any big like RV rallies that we should be aware of that you think maybe we should attend?
We're planning on going to the Airstream rally in Lebanon, Tennessee later this year. Fingers crossed that everything in the world makes that okay. Hi, Broken Dreams Reborn. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Long Long Honeymoon. We watched them. Definitely. That will be on our list as well.
They seem like they have to be the coolest.
Definitely. I think they're really in the Keys right now, or I'm not sure.
I don't know, but we love their videos.
Yeah. That's true. Definitely. Hoover Dam is a must. Changing Lanes, we've heard of them as well.
Chad and Tara, I like watching their videos.
Definitely a Love 7 crossover as well. Love you guys. Simple and Free, another couple that we definitely want to do a crossover with as well. Those guys are awesome.
Yay. Then Love 7 will get to meet y'all in real life. That'll be so fun. Embracing Detours. We love them too. We're kind of obsessed with watching all of the YouTube videos. It's so fun to learn from.
We do. We feel like we're there's just so much to learn, and YouTube offers that outlet for us. So we binge watch the same way you guys probably binge watch as well. Keep your daydream 100%. We definitely have to look at them and doing a crossover as well.
If any of y'all know these people
I know.
and want to make an introduction, we'd love that.
Yeah, I feel like for some of those, I mean, like we're probably like we're like the baby fish probably in the radar at this point. But if you guys have hookups with those guys, I mean, obviously, yeah.
We just love meeting great people.
Yeah, exactly. We love meeting everybody.
We're so excited about the world, you know, all the vaccine stuff rolling out, and us all being able to, you know, just share beer and get to hang out around a campfire with y'all, because literally the community that we have like been surrounded with since we launched this YouTube channel is hands down the #1 best part about the whole darn thing. When I am editing a video and it is taking me like 8 hours and I'm starting at like 4 o'clock in the morning because I still have my big kid job, and I think about, oh my gosh, this is so much work. I think about y'all and it makes it all worth it. So we cannot wait to meet y'all in real life.
And in reality, if you guys want to see some of these crossovers, maybe like comment on some of their pages and be like, hey, you guys should do a collaboration, kind of like put a bug in their ear, you know, and maybe that's how it'll all come to be. I have no idea, but it looks like Love 7, we're going to be doing a collaboration with you guys later this year somehow, but we're going to be at that rally in Tennessee.
In Tennessee.
Which is Lauren's home state.
It's actually really close to where I grew up in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. So we're going to get to see family and get to do the Airstream thing, which makes us very happy.
Double win.
Yep.
That's like a double win.
True.
Let's see here. Okay, this is a good one. We're headed to New Mexico and Arizona. What should we do? Again, this goes back to the fact that we don't do a lot of planning. We're very spontaneous.
So we have a little bit of planning. The only thing that we have planned so far is that first we are going to the White Sands National Park, which we're super excited about, especially since like we loved the Sahara Desert and thought it was the most beautiful, relaxing place on the planet. So we're excited about seeing the White Sands because we've heard it's like a version of the Sahara. And then next we are going to Santa Fe, and we're staying a week out there. And that is the extent of our plans from where we are here in Marfa, Texas this evening. So that's our current plan for the next couple weeks. But let's see. Oh, Bill, what are our goals for the channel?
That's such a great question. The goals for the channel, I mean, honestly, we just want this community to continue to grow. The more you guys tell us, the comments that drive us are the feedback you give us, and especially when you're with your encouraging words. I mean, that really means the world to us. When we know that other newbies have learned from some of our mistakes, that makes us feel good. When you guys tell us that you went out this last week and you started, you know, shopping locally, and instead of going to like the Walmarts of the world, you like went to local shops and bought stuff, that makes us feel really, really good. It's never really been about us. It's always been about the community we wanted to build and the impact we wanted to create.
Well, so when we first started traveling full time, we bought the cameras and all the things that we needed to start a YouTube channel. And we were traveling internationally. In our big kid jobs, we own a digital marketing agency. So when we got out there and started traveling, I mean, we had worked our butts off for over a decade, like crazy hours to make our company
we
grow.
grinded hard for 10 years.
And when we got out and started shooting video, we were like, this feels like work, and we just need to like decompress and become better humans, and we don't feel like doing that in front of a computer or in front of a camera. And so for a year and a half we traveled and didn't shoot anything, even though I did a lot of Insta stories, and people were like, you guys have to start a YouTube channel, it'd be so fun. And we were like, you know, we just really want to explore the world and experience the moment, because I think that is one of the things that is, you know, it's one of the drawbacks of social media, is that you can get so caught up spending time creating stories and shooting video that you don't actually get to experience the places that you are. And we didn't want to do that. But when we got stuck in Morocco during the pandemic, and we used those same skill sets that we have from our digital marketing agency to get the story out about stranded Americans who are not just in Morocco and in Africa, but all across the world.
Costa Rica and all over the world.
It was amazing. And we realized that the skill sets that we had, they had the potential to make a bigger impact. And
a positive impact.
A really big positive impact that would make a difference in people's lives. And because of that, that's why we decided to start Wanderlocal and actually doing the channel, because we really truly believe that if we're all shopping local, if we are experiencing the communities that we are in, even if it's the one that's just around the block from your home, that you'll become a better person. And if we all become better people, then our world becomes a better place. And so that's our biggest goal for the channel. It
became our mission. I mean, we legitimately traveled the world, and we thought that you had to travel the world to experience new things that were just so out of the box. And you really don't. I mean,
Airstream Life has changed that for us.
Yeah, there's so much within our own country to explore, and at times it feels like you're in another country.
Totally.
I mean, we're in the bayou, and I could hardly understand what they were saying. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I felt like I was in another country.
I love their accents.
Happens. Yeah, the accents are strong in the bayou. But that's what I mean, though. I mean, there's so much within our own country to see and do and explore, and people to meet over a campfire, and experiences to share that. Literally, even if you're just going to be a weekend warrior and get out there and explore, you should do that, because there's just so much to see and do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Renata and Kathy, thank you guys. We love y'all too. Let's see. Oh, how about Traveling Robert? Oh my God, his accent is the greatest thing that has ever happened.
He's like Antonio Banderas. His voice is so sexy when he's doing the voices. Oh man, no, I love all of these guys.
We actually got a cool new thing to stick on top of our truck. So
inspired by
Traveling Robert.
So you're gonna see some cool shots.
Those
for sure.
videos are so cool. We're so excited about that. We love him. He's awesome.
Totally. We do some crazy. We're doing more adventurous stuff with shots. We took our drone up in this windstorm, and I pretty much thought I was gonna lose it. It comes with like a gimbal that stabilizes, and it was like whoa in the air. I mean, it was I thought this is it. This is the day we lose a drone, but I did it, and we got a good shot.
And I think it's fair to note that we said that we own a digital marketing company, and we still do. Right. That's our big kid jobs. We help healthcare companies with digital marketing, but we are not professional videographers. No. So we are definitely learning as we go. And like Heath, we pinky promise we're picking up that stupid gimbal this week so that we can make you stop like throwing up
from the motion sickness. So, literally one of our favorite comments talked about, we're giving him motion sickness from the vibration and all that stuff. We literally have a gimbal, and we're picking it up this week, and we're so excited about it. So you're gonna get more stable like video. we're never videographers before this, and I bet that's probably like a lot of people on here.
Yeah,
you just do your best.
We made the mistake of sending the gimbal to my dad's house, which is in Tampa, and we're actually jumping back over there this week because we've got some appointments that we have to go to. Obviously, Daniel's hair needs to be done, but that's not really why we're going. That would be ridiculous. Yeah, so we are picking up all of the things, like the gimbal and like some other goodies that we had sent there that we didn't feel comfortable about, like sending them to a campground that we didn't know if it would make it kind of thing. So we're super excited about that.
What else do we have? I think we're.
Terry, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
We're at the point. I think we're at the point.
I think we're at the point where we should talk about
we're going here.
Games. So we're jumping on our phones.
This is happening in real time. We're picking the winner here.
Oh, yep. Community. Okay, let's see. I'm doing an official refresh, y'all.
Drum roll. The drum roll.
And the winner is Mr. Dan White with Magnum
Pig. Our little piggy's name is going to be Magnum Pig.
And Dan, thank you for submitting the name that everybody chose. We freaking love it. Daniel loved it the most because...
Well, I loved all of them, but they all have a special place in my heart, all of them equally. But Magnum PI brought back memories because my dad was actually a PI growing up. He had his own investigative agency, and he still has that big like Magnum PI mustache, and he wore like the same like shirts, and he thought...
He's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, no. He thought...
He really is so cool.
Yeah. Magnum PI was his inspiration. And so I thought it was pretty funny to come up with Magnum PIG. Should we talk about...
Well, we need to talk about what your prize is, Dan, because that's obviously important. And it's a wonderful company that all of you guys should be aware of if you're not. So, Dan, because you helped us name our pork belly, we are sending you a $100 gift card to Gold Belly. And if you guys don't know what Gold Belly is, it's actually a website that empowers local restaurants and shops to be able to ship nationwide. So you can get your absolute favorite go-to food items from anywhere across the country through this awesome website. So they've got
Yeah.
Golly jeepers, they've got everything.
It sounds like we're pitching them, but like,
I
swear they're not paying us $1 for this.
I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, because like the things will pop up in your social media feeds, and it just, you can order like very unique things from very unique places around the country that you love, like your favorite roast beef from a New York, deli or whatever. And we thought that was one of the coolest things ever.
Well, and they promote local, and that's what we're all about. We want to shop local. We want to buy American products. And so we felt like it made perfect sense.
Exactly.
So, Dan, we're going to be sending you that gift card. If not tonight, because our internet might not be working. We promise we'll do it tomorrow.
Not tonight.
But we are really, really excited about that. Thank you to everybody who contributed today. Seriously, you guys have made us giggle like for an entire week over these things. So it's brought a lot of joy to our lives.
It really does. And when we say in a comment sometimes that you guys made our day, we legitimately mean that. And you guys make us laugh and inspire us to do better at this every day. And that's our goal, to just keep improving and keep delivering, a better community channel, everything for you guys.
Oh, and this is a really good next step. So Kathy says, I believe it's the Marfa Lights. And that's actually what our plan is to do this evening, is to go see if we can check out the elusive and questioning Marfa Lights. So fingers crossed we don't get blown away. I think the wind
or taken away by aliens, right? Is it like I don't know. I don't understand what that's about. Maybe like
never
aliens.
Hear from us again.
We'll fill you in.
The aliens.
If we get taken away by aliens, just know that we were into Marfa Lights, and that's what happens. If you don't hear from us, that's what happens. We got abducted by aliens.
Yep. Real true
that can
story.
Happen. You never know.
All right, guys. Well, seriously, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight. These make our whole weeks. It's so much fun. But until next time, if you haven't had the chance to check out our boondocking in the bayou video, where Daniel shows you all of his amazing mad skills about how to set up a generator.
Crushed it. Follow my 97-step process for hooking up a generator.
Make sure to do that. And if you'd like to see our obnoxious windstorm that we have been dealing with for the last 48 hours, you can also check out the goofy little short that I published.
Or my hair. You get a taste of it right now. That's wind. Daniel
had to fight with the Airstream door yesterday. It was pretty funny. He didn't know I was filming it, so I turned it into a short, because that's what all good wives do. When your husband doesn't know you're filming, you publish them online. All right, guys. We love you guys so much. Until next time that we do this, we'll see y'all online. Bye, guys.
Love y'all.